For centuries, Native Americans have had the most gorgeous, beautiful, long hair, and they have usually used natural ingredients to maintain this, to grow it. And while I made a video about this years ago, today I want to expand on it and talk about how you can use some of their hair growth secrets to work for you in 2025. So I want to start with a disclaimer, okay? The media has a very specific portrayal of what Native Americans look like. And from my research, from my comments in my previous video, and honestly, a hint of common sense, Native Americans don't all look like the representation in the media, right? Fair skin, super long, bone straight hair with maybe a slight wave. Some Native Americans are darker skinned, others are fairer skinned. Some have really, really curly hair. Some of it is bone straight, some of it is wavy. Just like most countries around the world, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and so does their hair. Also, it's not like they are extinct. There are a lot of Native American communities. There's a lot of people that are mixed with Native American, and they still use some of these traditions, and most of all, they just have it in their DNA. Also, just because these are Native American practices traditionally, it doesn't mean that they all still do these practices in 2025, because we are in the modern day. Just like the Yao women in China, they have traditions like not cutting their hair, but you find young girls these days in China from the Yao women directly, and they have a little bob because they just want to do that. So they don't have to abide by these same rules, and they allow themselves to do whatever they want to do with their hair. But just like anyone else in the world, again, some of them still stick to the exact traditions that they used centuries ago. So let's get into some of the hair growth secrets of Native Americans that you can use to help you grow your hair in 2025. Number one of the most important ones, diet. And the reason why your diet is one of the most important ones is because while you can't change your genetics, your diet can actually change the way your genes are expressed. So Native Americans historically eat a food that's consistent of mostly whole foods and very balanced, which is mixed with, grains, protein, lots of meats, fish, eggs, and it's usually pretty lean. They also drink a lot of herbal teas. Like, I haven't heard that much about very specific on them drinking a lot of water, but it still comes in the form of the herbal teas, because to my knowledge, they don't put sugar in it. So things like saw palmetto and other teas, nettle teas, are incorporated and included in the hydration portion. I hope that sound in the background is not too loud. I think someone's cutting a tree down. Saw palmetto is primarily used for its hair growth benefits, skincare benefits, and overall health benefits. And one of its best functions is its ability to block or slow down DHT production. This is the hormone that is produced by testosterone and can lead to early hair loss or excessive shedding. They also drink aloe vera very often. Aloe vera is very difficult for me to drink, but if you can incorporate it into a smoothie or something like that, that is actually a great remedy. I don't drink smoothies either, so the aloe vera one is just not for me. I'm also slightly allergic, but this is why I like to say things like this, because you have to understand that not everything works for you. So when you find something that works for you, make sure that you take it as much as possible and maximize as much as you can, so that the things that don't work don't make much of a difference for you. Another tip that Native Americans use is to make sure that they use ingredients from stuff that's around them. So if you're Googling stinging nettle and all these different things, but they're not native to you, even if you find them growing where you are, they may not be as nutritious or as beneficial as something that is grown naturally near you. That's why it's very advised to eat the fruits that are in season, not just because they are cheaper, but because they are also more nutrition, because that is their season. So for example, rosemary grows around everywhere where I am, moringa grows, peppermint grows, all different forms of mint. So those would be highly nutritious, and it's super easy for me to just get it locally, and I don't have to make sure that I find saw palmetto somewhere. The next thing you can learn from the Native Americans when it comes to hair growth is scalp stimulation. They like to massage their scalp using a bristle brush or a wooden comb. And if your hair is in a blown out state like mine, or in some kind of protective style where you have access to your scalp, you can of course use tools to stimulate it. But if not, you can always use your fingers like I do. Do a scalp massage, make sure your fingers are touching your scalp, move the hair around in nice small circles, and it is really beneficial. It is stimulating for hair growth. It increases the blood flow of nutrients. It increases the blood flow and nutrients to your scalp and can help unclog any dormant follicles. And the Native Americans actually consider this a mindful practice. So it's basically like a short meditation. You can do it just in the peace and quiet and calm, and it helps de-stress and relax you as well. And because stress is one of the leading causes of breakage, damage, and hair loss, just doing this simple thing can help de-stress you and reduce the amount of hair loss you're experiencing. The third thing they do is protective hair practices. I think they do it in some of the best ways because it's some of the lowest manipulation. They usually keep their hair in very few braids, anywhere from 1 to 4. 1 to 2 is more common, but even 4 braids is common as well. And this is great because the less braids you have, the less manipulation, the less combing. But of course, it might depend on the length of your hair. If you have shorter hair, it might be difficult to put your hair in 1 or 2 braids, so you might need a little bit more. But just putting them in a loose braid, if you see traditionally, Native Americans don't have braids that are super tight at the scalp. It's really loose. So like if I was to braid this hair, or I can show you with a twist since it's easier right now, I wouldn't like pull the hair and make sure it's twisted tight from the base. It would literally be from here on. And so there's no tension at the scalp. Whatever products are put on the hair are sort of just going into the hair shaft. And then the ends are also not tied too tight. They're not twisted till it's super fine. They'd probably be a hair tie at this portion. So it's super low manipulation, but you're not moving the hair around. You're not combing through the hair. And that heavily reduces on breakage. It makes sure that the oils and products that are sitting in the hair really absorb into the hair and have time to do so. And it can even serve as a bonding experience. If you live with other people, you can literally braid each other's hair. The fourth thing you can do is reducing the amount of times you wash your hair. Now, some people can take this too far and it can actually lead to a clogged scalp. I'm not talking about once a month. I'm talking about 1 to twice a week. Washing your hair every day can be too much for a lot of people. It's too much manipulation, too much combing, too much brushing, too much access to your scalp, too much drying shampoos on your scalp. So even if you use hair products that the Native Americans don't use, you can still benefit from washing your hair a little less just to reduce on the manipulation and the products you're adding. Tip 5 may seem like a no-brainer, but trust me, you won't believe how many people do this and get surprised that their hair is not getting any longer. And this is that Native Americans don't do any unnecessary cuts. I have met so many people in person and online who are constantly cutting their hair. They decide to go natural and then say, actually, I think I like my hair relaxed better, so I'm just gonna go relaxed. Then they relax their hair and they're like, no, relax was fine, but I remember why I went natural in the first place, so I'm gonna restart my hair growth journey and go natural again. And then they go natural and their hair grows and they're like, I really like how this length goes on me. I think I want to have a little more fun with my hair, so I'm gonna bleach it. It's blonde. I love blonde hair. Let's try a little color. They do a little color and they're like, okay, I had enough fun. Now my hair is a little too dry and it's breaking, so I'm just gonna cut the colored part of my hair and then start my hair growth journey again. And they do this so many times and then they're like, I've been on a hair growth journey for 10 years and my hair is not growing. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. Like, you're cutting your hair. That's why. So most Native Americans don't ever cut their hair in their entire lifetime, maybe a few trims here and there, and they will only cut it if there is like some kind of emotional reason, like a death in the family or something like that. Because they hardly use any harsh products, their hair is usually in braids or twists. They barely get any split ends or damage anyway, so there's no need for you to cut it, right? They usually don't use any heat on their hair either. So if you're not getting any split ends, you're not getting any damage, unless you just want to cut your hair for fun. They have no reason to cut it, so they don't cut their hair. Some people go on that schedule that a lot of stylists say, come and trim your hair every 6 to 12 weeks. If at the end of 12 weeks you don't have split ends, why are you trimming your hair? The sixth thing is something that I think, especially as someone with a hair texture that's not seen as like the best hair texture, the most popular, or people wouldn't call it good hair, right? Like good hair is considered usually only reference to Black people, and it's like type 3 and above. It's type 3, it's silky, that's considered good hair. And so a lot of us have grown up with a very negative relationship with our hair, and we are always striving to get it to look look like type 3 hair or a different kind of hair. But the thing is, just like you can't hate yourself skinny, you can't hate your hair into health or longer hair. Native Americans have a very deep connection with their hair, and that's another reason why they don't cut it. And even when they do cut their hair, like when it comes to grief, there's usually like some kind of ceremony, even if it just means burning their hair or burning it with sage. They also don't just want random people touching their hair because it's sacred to them. We've even heard sayings across cultures like when a woman changes her hair, she's about to change her life. And it's usually like someone gets a major cut. Some people completely shave their hair almost bald, and your immediate thought is like, oh, this person must be going through something. Like, why did you cut your hair? So just the thought that you would immediately think there's something emotional tells you that regardless of how you look at it, we do have emotional ties to our hair. Now, speaking of Native Americans' deep connection with their hair, this is where you use the phrase, what you focus on grows. If you focus on loving your hair, on the things that you like on your hair, you will continue to like it more. It will continue to grow more. If you focus on the negative aspects of your hair, you are going to get more of those negative things. Even if you don't love your hair right now, find something to love about it. Like, I can give you an example of something I don't like about my hair. My hair is naturally dry. It is very prone to breakage and prone to dryness. But focusing on that is not going to do anything. What you need to do is focus on something that you like about your hair. Trust me, there should be at least one thing you like about your hair, right? So like for me, I like the fact that my hair is really thick. I like that my hair strands are super dense, and I like that I have a lot of hair. Like, that is something I really like about my hair. I like the current length of my hair. I want it to be longer, but I also like the length that it's at right now. I like how healthy and shiny my hair currently feels. And I even like the color of my hair. Like before, I'd be so annoyed, like, "Ugh, it never shines because it's not dark enough." My hair is a weird shade of brown. Sometimes it's a little brassy, but I also like the fact that most of the time when I wear my hair straight, people ask me what hair dye I use because it gets naturally lighter with the sun in certain areas, and I've got like different tones of brown, and I really like the way that looks. So even if you hate a lot of things about your hair, you can find one thing you like about it. Maybe it's the hair pattern, maybe it's the color. Find one nice thing and focus on that. The thing about hating your hair and thinking you can find a way to make it better so that you can love it, the thing is, you're focusing on the things that you hate, and so you're just going to get more of that. Instead of focusing on, oh, I really like my hair. I really like how thick it is. How can I make sure it maintains its thickness? How can I make it thicker? Your thought is going to be like, oh, I hate how my hair breaks so much. It's so annoying that no matter what I do, my hair is constantly breaking. I hate that my hair is so dry. You will subconsciously be doing things to sabotage your hair growth and to keep the story that you tell yourself in your head so that it lines up, because no one likes lying to themselves, right? So if someone comes and asks you 1 year from now why your hair is the same length, you'll be like, my hair is always breaking. I told you that. That's why my hair is so short, because it's so annoying. It keeps breaking, right? But you're focusing on the wrong thing. On my previous Native American hair video, I actually got multiple stories referencing the fact that during the World War, back in the day, the army recruited a bunch of Native Americans, and it was a requirement for people to cut their hair when they do army training. And so they all had to cut their hair. But the thing is, a lot of Native Americans were recruited to the military because of their amazing hunting skills. They could sense wherever the animals were. They didn't need much training or equipment to find anything to hunt because they were naturals. The thing is, after they cut their hair, these men claimed that they couldn't feel their prey anymore, and they lost their hunting skills and even clairvoyance for some of them. And multiple cultures around the world also experience and have stated similar beliefs when it comes to hair. These Native American hair growth secrets have stood the test of time. They were relevant back then and they're still relevant now. But what matters most is how you apply them personally to your own routine now. Just knowing the information is not going to do anything if you don't apply it. If you want to see any other mistakes you might be unaware of, you can watch this video right here to see 7 hair growth mistakes you might be making in your routine that might be causing your hair loss, breakage, shedding, and lack of length retention. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning, and hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Also consider joining my membership if you'd like priority responses to your comments, as well as other perks like early access to my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!